Jack White stands among the greatest rock stars of his generation. He rose to fame with the band The White Stripes, formed with his then-wife Meg White, but has also made a mark as a member of the Raconteurs and through a distinguished solo career. Over the years, Jack has been nominated for 33 Grammy Awards, winning 12. He was named a Nashville Music City Ambassador and will be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2025. He's also earned a place in the top 100 greatest guitar players of all time. If the name Jack White doesn't immediately ring a bell, the unmistakable riff from his iconic track Seven Nation Army certainly will.
Oh, yeah, I'm bleeding in the pit, and I'm bleeding around the fallen Lord. The ones are gonna bleed from me, and nothing no more. And the stains coming from my blood, come back out.
Much to the disappointment of their fans, the White Stripes went on hiatus in 2011. Since then, Jack has focused on his work with the Raconteurs and his solo projects. It remains striking that an artist of his stature continues to favor the camaraderie of bands, rather than fully embracing the spotlight as a solo performer.
I think it's a relief for both of us.
Yeah.
I can speak for you. I would assume it's a relief, but I know for myself that when you come into it, it's sort of, wow, it's nice to not have to think of 100% of everything, the lyrics, the music, the production, the artwork, the techniques you're using, all that. You're sharing that.
The Detroit native has performed in nearly every corner of the globe, but it's the United Kingdom where he always feels most at home.
One of the places we know that people absolutely love music unabashedly is Britain. We just knew from our first trips over, people really love music in Britain. You won't believe it when you get there, watch,
Jack shares 2 children with his ex-wife Karen Elson and is famously private about his personal life. He's even been known to mislead the press with false claims, at one point even declaring that he and Meg White were siblings while they were still married. What is known is that Jack embraces his eccentricities. He collects taxidermy and is a firm believer in fasting, once subsisting for 5 days on nothing but water and coffee. When he does eat, he follows a strict diet, avoiding sugar and carbohydrates. More conventionally, he runs his own record label and is known for banning phones from his concerts to preserve the live experience.
I tried it last year when I was on tour, and people just loved it. I thought it was only going to last for a couple of weeks, and people were like, oh, this is just, we're not having this. I thought it'd be an interesting sort of like an art experiment, really. You feel a different energy. Like if a comedian makes a joke, a stand-up comedian makes a joke, and 10% of the crowd laughs, he might say to himself, oh, okay, well, I got to stop making those political jokes for this crowd. I got to start talk about joking around the supermarket or something.
That didn't work.
Yeah, that didn't work. So that's the way I've worked without having a set list. It's like I'm feeding off of their energy. So if I can't tell what their energy really is because they got stuff in their hands or because they're doing that, it kind of messes up the whole back and forth between me and the crowd. And it's also something that everyone already does at the symphony, at church, and court, and all these other things where people go to these other ceremonies in life. So it's interesting to try it out for this kind of music. But it's worked out really well for the last year.
Finally, it's worth noting where Jack chooses to invest his success. While many celebrities champion charitable causes, Jack has a particular devotion to revitalizing his hometown of Detroit. He once donated $170,000 to renovate a local baseball field and contributed another $142,000 to cover the tax bill of the Detroit Masonic Temple, a gesture of gratitude to the venue as they once employed his mother.